With the rise of non-traditional families and more women choosing to keep their own surnames after marriage, many families are faced with a tricky decision about whose surname to give the kids. It leads to the question, are there rules about last names? To take us through this, I'm joined by Ben Finn from the New South Wales Registry of Births, Deaths and Marriages. Thanks for coming in this afternoon.
Thanks, Rachel.
Are there, I guess, first thing, are there any rules about what kind of surname you can choose?
Well, it can't be offensive. Can't be too long, so it needs to fit on the certificate. Can't use characters that aren't used in the English language, so we can't use, say, Japanese characters or anything that has no phonetic significance, and it can't be a title or a rank.
Okay. Now, you said it can't be too long. What's the limit?
50 characters. That's including any spaces or dashes.
Okay, that's pretty long for a last name. What about double-barreled surnames? Can you have more than two, or is it... I guess it doesn't matter as long as it fits in that.
As long as it fits in on the certificate, that's fine. You can have triple-barreled, quadruple-barreled surnames if you wish to.
Does that happen? I mean, there are, I guess, more and more people who have double-barreled surnames, and they might be partnering with someone else who has a double-barreled surname. Do you have cases where people might have multiple surnames?
I have seen one instance personally where I've seen a triple-barreled surname, but that's as far as I've seen.
Okay. And who makes the decision at births, deaths and marriages about names that are put forward?
Well, ultimately the registrar has the final say on whether a name can be prohibited, or usually if staff come across a name that they might think is prohibited or something we can't register, they'll usually work with the parents, or even if it's a change of name scenario, go back to the person that wants to change their name and sort of work with them on, look, this may not be something we can do under the law, but let's have a look and see what we can come up with. But if it needs to, it will then go to the registrar for a final decision.
What are some of the names that haven't made it through?
Oh, look, some usual circumstances are where they've tried to add a title perhaps to a name, so Sir.
Right.
Trying to name your child Sir.
Sir Ben.
That's right. Only the Queen can do that under the law at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we've seen examples of where people have tried to use numbers, so an actual numeral.
Right.
So you can name your child Seven as long as it's SEVEN, not the actual number.
And you've been looking at, I guess, trends over the last few decades and noticed some change in the most popular surnames, at least here in New South Wales.
Yeah, so back in 1960, for instance, a very Anglo surnames in the top 10, and the top 5, for instance, were Smith, Brown, Jones, Williams, Wilson. Mm-hmm. And even by 1980, not much had changed. So in 1980, it was Smith, Brown, Williams, Jones, Wilson.
Wow.
In 2000, we had Smith, Newen, Williams, Brown and Jones. So Newen had snuck into the top 5.
Wow.
And now we see the top 5, there's only one, perhaps two Anglo names, which is Smith, Newen, Cheng, Singh and Lee, which could either be of Chinese or English origin.
Wow, and so that's for New South Wales, but do you expect that most states would be seeing similar changes?
I expect so, but especially New South Wales and Victoria, where we tend to see more diversity ethnically, but obviously other states are starting to experience, that same diversity as well. So I'd say it's starting to happen across the board.
And do you have instances where people are coming up with a combination of the parents' surnames or completely new names?
Yeah, definitely. Say, for instance, in some cultures, they may choose a surname that might belong to a grandfather or something like that. So they may give their child a surname that has no obvious resemblance to either parent. But sure, combinations of the parents' surnames, for instance, they might just somehow make an amalgamation of those two surnames and come up with some portmanteau of that. But yeah, you do see it from time to time, or just names that you wonder where they got it from, but obviously there's some sort of significance to the parents, I imagine, of where that surname came from.
Okay, so a bit of flexibility, as long as it's not offensive and within 50 characters, then we're good to go.
That's right, and it's not a swear word or something.
Course.
You're not trying to name your child a doctor and they haven't done medicine yet.
Ben Finn, thank you so much for talking us through it all.
Thank you very much.